Okay, welcome everybody to day 2 of the DUI virtual trade show. We are here today. Mainly, we're going to be discussing pretty much everything OMS today, or this case for people who don't understand what OMS stands for. It stands for Ocean Management Systems. So today we basically have just 2 presenters, and I'd like to just to go through a couple details. First of all, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, this whole presentation or trade show today is best viewed from Zoom. On all the Facebook events, it does have a link to the Facebook Zoom presentation, so you can jump on there. This will allow you to interact with the different DUI OMS count managers today, and you can go to a breakout room and you can discuss things or however you want, and get information that way. Throughout the day, please ask questions. You're allowed to ask questions by typing in the message windows in Zoom or in the Facebook event or Facebook Live event at that point in time. And we'll try to answer them when we have time, or I'll jump in and ask the question for you, for Pete or Thomas. So with all that said, I'm going to open this up to Pete Naraki, and Pete will start this whole show off today. And so welcome, Pete. You need to unmute your microphone. Sorry.
It's unmuted.
Okay. So Pete, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Jack. Well, we're going to have a good time today, folks. You get to watch me run around my office. Welcome to my home in Virginia Beach, and I got a lot of toys hanging around. So we'll be playing with gear, going through gear. Want to answer all your questions: sizing, fitting, how does this work, how does it doesn't work, what did we do last year, what are we doing now, and we're moving forward. But before we get into that, I need to introduce somebody who's really worked hard in the diving industry, Thomas Dederichs. And Thomas, I'm not giving your age out. They'll know you're not 21 anymore. It's real simple as that. Okay, but he's the major shareholder and CEO and president of Ocean Management Systems, which is located, wait for it, in Mönchengladbach, Germany. It took 3 weeks to learn how to say that. He's also the major shareholder and president of BTS Europa, and he's got a bunch of other stuff in a language I can't read. So if you want it, we can email it to you. But he's been diving for nearly 40 years with thousands of dives. He used to teach as a TDI Advanced Trimix instructor trainer and a TDI Inspiration CCR diver, as well as DUI Fundamentals instructor. And he's still an active PADI open water scuba instructor. I met Thomas the first time in 2014, and in a lot of ways, thankfully, we had like minds when it comes to gear placement, gear positioning, diving, and our attitude. So I'd like to turn this over to Thomas, folks. Here you go, Thomas. It's all you, buddy.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you for that introduction. So you're right, I am in Germany. Hi, everybody. In Germany means it's 7 p.m. now, dark outside, a little windy, sitting in our showroom. So I am told I shouldn't talk equipment, which I like to do a lot. I am told I should talk about me a little and the OMS mission statement. I did prepare a short PowerPoint presentation for that. I will share my screen, and I will start the presentation and tell you a little about me, my history, my belief, my thinking, and why I love to work with the team of DUI and why I love to work with all the international OMS people. So I use that term quite likely because I am living to dive, and at the other side, my whole life is for diving. You could say I have done nothing else, but it's relatively easy because my mother told me I am an aquatic human. I have been able to swim earlier than I have been able to walk. Now the question is, what age I have been when I was able to swim or to walk. So other people are saying I was just too lazy to walk on land. As Pete already said, I am a certified diver since 1981. So it is nearly 40 years. And I can tell you indirect my age, because at that time being, it was CMIS diving and the minimum age have been 16 years. So at that time, I have been 16 years old and I have been certified as a diver. I started the dive shop in 1993. We are DUI distributor in Europe for the last 23 years. So we started 1998. And we used to be the Halcyon distributor in Europe from 2002 to 2018. At the same time, I am a PADI open water scuba instructor, still present. So present means I started to train my kids, not really active in that case. I used to be a TDI advanced trimix instructor trainer already in the late 90s, a GOE fundamentals instructor from 2005 to 2008. I am the owner and president of BTS Europe, which is a distribution company based in Germany. And I am the owner and president of OMS since 2014. I just like that picture. I like that picture because I just need to put my shortcuts a little away. That was before everything turned to technical black. And I'm not gay. So that was someone in 1994. And just to tell you that Scuba Pro Master Jacket wasn't available in black. That Scuba Pro Master Jacket was available in turquoise blue, in yellow, and in red. The dry suit was available in different colors, but it was already a twin set. I'm just showing that pictures, and I have tons of these pictures showing different style of diving in different times. What I saw in my life for diving, good times and sometimes really challenging times were followed by each other. So I love this picture. I owned that boat back in 1996 in Egypt. We were running in places where nobody else could go. Fantastic dives, warm water, exciting places. It was really fun to be on that boat. It was quite big. It could host up to 20 people easily. So it was 100 feet. A Turkish sailing boat. It was a really, really good time, and I have been able to spend time on that boat. At the same time, I can tell you, if you have such a boat in a shipyard, especially in Egypt, you are challenged by business because you are on a complete different part of the business if you suddenly need to deal with construction work, with maintenance and other items. And I can tell you, since the beginning or up to now, I love wreck diving in any way, in any direction. But I can tell you, I didn't like diving the wreck of my own boat because it took fire in 1996 in Egypt, and it burned down, really burned down to zero. So luckily for me, I have had the key of the safe, but I can tell you nothing have been in there. So the wreck, and this is, I have seen the wreck a couple of times later, is still there. A wooden boat swimming up, burning down, laying there. I still would love to have that boat to sail somewhere on remote dive spots. So I am telling myself I have been lucky. Lucky because I have been able to ride trends. Riding trends means we do not do that on purpose. We are not these people who are going out and saying, what is the next thing to invest in? We are following our heart. But these trends, to identify these trends, have been very important when we acquired OMS. So looking back, and looking back means I looked back already late 2010, the trends we have seen was in the decade of the 80s, what we called sport diving in Europe. Sport diving have been CMIS diving. Sport diving was very difficult to achieve. So I remember I was a competitive swimmer and I trained 5 days a week in a swimming club. And that swimming club have had a diving division. So age 16, I went to the instructor and I asked the instructor, I would like to become a diver. What do I need to do? And the instructor said, yeah, that's great. We train every Tuesday and we invite you to come, and next 6 months we will train you fin kicking. And I said, hey, come on, I am a competitive swimmer. I know how to swim. And he said, let's see. So it was difficult to become a diver, but at the same time, it was a sport which haven't had really fences. So from a funny side, for all of you who have some more background on further advanced diving, in 1980, we used the US Navy decompression table, and that US Navy decompression table, which I still have, is showing 108 meters, which are 330 feet, diving that one on air. We didn't know better, but we have had a decompression table, how to decompress if we are in there. So, sport diving, small, difficult to get. And then suddenly in Europe, the US company hijacked that sport diving market. And what they said diving is easy, fun, and safe. Easy, because you don't need to train 6 months fin kicking. You could become a certified diver within 6 days. It's fun, and I think we all agree that being in the aquatic environment, being underwater, is fun. But they said as well, it's safe. And they said it's safe because they put in a depth limit of 100 feet as a recommended one, and 120 feet, don't get me on feet, so I know the meter part because we are living metrics, so 40 meters as an absolute maximum depth, and no decompression. But for me, starting a dive shop in the early 90s, it was great because we have been able to train hundreds of people. We were chartering airplanes to get people to Egypt, and we were running our liveaboard in Egypt. We were running our own dive center in Egypt with a lot of people getting there. So easy, fun, and safe made that market significant bigger. Then, and I think you can follow on that relatively easy, some people in the late 90s started to say, hey, diving is more. Diving is excitement. Diving is exploration. And diving can be extreme. So, unfortunately, these people named themselves technical divers. But you could go as well and you could say easy, fun, and safe is recreational diving, but I don't like these terms because that makes a barrier between both of these activities, which are not really as much different as most people think. It's a different style of equipment, it's a different training effort, but finally, these are divers in the water. So, as well, following my heart, following my dream, running expeditions already in the late 90s down in Ireland, down to a wreck of 100 meters, which was at that time being outside of all range, helped me as well in business. Because at that time, if somebody in the world were looking for a 7-foot low pressure hose. There were a couple of companies in the world offering it, and we have been one of that. So it helped me heavily to grow business by being at the first front of excitement, exploration, and extreme. Already in the early 2010, in a team which included Dick Long, which included Susan Long, which included as well Jared Jablonski and some other people, we were discussing what is the 2010 trend, what's going on. And we were all sure it's a transition period. That transition period, because the diving differentiation between easy, fun, and safe, excitement, exploration, and extreme have not been as obvious in the market any longer. There was not a clear border between these two activities. These activities were merging together. You know that. For example, TDI started to run SDI to offer beginning training, and at the same time, training agencies as PADI, SSI, NAUI, they started to run what they called the tech program, where they were overcoming the site of non-decompression or depth limits. So, 2010 transition, and then before I go to my next point on the presentation, I still remember January 2014. I know it was January because we were going to the largest exhibition for water sport indoor in Germany, boat show in Düsseldorf. I got a phone call from a guy in San Diego, my friend and mentor, Dick Long. For him, it was late evening, and he asked me, would you be interested to buy OMS? I was driving a car, and my first immediate answer was no. No, it's an outdated company. Why the hell should we buy OMS, which is serving equipment which used to be popular in the 2000s, offering equipment for excitement, exploration, and extreme? And he said, I got you, but think about it, and you may change your mind. We could discuss and we could look forward. And in the end, I have had the whole day to think about, does it make sense to acquire OMS? And finally, thinking the whole day, I called Dick Long in the evening my time, which was early morning his time, and I told him, I need to withdraw what I said this morning. I still think OMS is a company with problems, with a blemished brand. They have had some supply issues, but they are standing for high quality and they are worldwide known. So I think we could transfer OMS into what we need for 2020. And we are already in there. So 2020, what's going on in 2020? What is the trend? What is the decade giving us? How can we make a good living out of it by being in that trend? And I am 100% sure it's easy. The market gets back to be harmonized. The barrier, the differentiation between recreational and tech diving is disappearing. Divers are divers, and I can tell you very much, I do have two daughters. They are now 19 and 22 years old. If I told them, would you like to become a diver? They said yes, but it's too much work to get certified. It's too much effort. Let's just go diving. And at a certain place, we did a photo shooting under ice. And my kids have been excited seeing that pictures, and they said, hey, Dad, that's cool. We would like to go under ice. That's an adrenaline kick we are looking for. Can we do that? Can you take us under ice? And I said, look, you need to get trained. You need to make experience before you can go under ice. Finally, I found a solution for them to get them excited or get them an adrenaline kick. We went out to Guadalupe and we dove with the great whites in a cage, but that was an experience they are still speaking about. I'm just using that as an example because if we get now to younger people and ask younger people, would you like to do something easy, fun, and safe? The answer will be, do we have something else? Can I choose something else? What they would like to do in our days, they would like to do something easy, no question, fun, no question, but it needs to be extreme. Having said all that, I know that market because that is the market I already faced in the 80s. A sport diving market, much bigger, easier to access. And then we said in 2014, and we means DUI included, we will try to acquire OMS and we will move OMS range to suit a market described here as the market 2020, but we always called that the 2025 product. So in 2014, before we even signed the contract, we put out a mission statement. It's our constitution. And whatever product we are looking at, that constitution counts. That is what we are living for. So what we do, a product needs to be a product for 2025. A product for 2025 will always be complete modular. It's not putting a user into a certain edge. So it's not in a jacket style. It's not a jacket designed to take a tank and to give you some buoyancy compensation. It needs to suit your need, what you do. So it needs to be a jacket which allows you to see colorful fishes just at 30 feet. Maybe using the same components, you can go down to 100 feet, but you may change something and you just adapt, adjust, and that product will allow you to do everything in diving. And you are not a recreational diver, you are not a technical diver, you are a diver who performs the complete range of diving. It needs to be light-weighted. We would like to travel. We would need to look at all items and we need to make sure it's made for a purpose. It needs to be at superior quality and or superior performance. We defined superior as standard quality, premium quality above, and superior above premium. For us, it can't be better. And Pete later on will tell you tons of details what we are looking at to make a product into a superior quality or into superior performance. But all that will only work with a superior supply chain. A supply chain allowing you to put in an order and get it shipped overnight. That requires partners in there maintaining that supply chain, partners like DUI. There are not very many people in the world who could do what DUI is doing on dry suits and on OMS equipment. They allow you to get what you need overnight. Maybe overnight is expensive, but just in time. Again, the superior supply chain only works well if you offer a superior after-sales service. And for us, a superior after-sales service means we need to provide spare parts. Simple, a mask buckle is something you need. It's difficult to tell a customer, throw your mask away because that 20 penny buckle is broken. But we even went much further ahead. We did some changes into the line to follow up our 2025 mission, but we made sure all spare parts for the older line is available. So we offer spare parts for equipment produced in the 90s by OMS, making sure the customer is happy about a superior after-sale service. And this sounds a little odd, but for us in 2014, that was an important part. If there is no differentiation between technical diving and recreational diving, easy, fun, and safe, extreme excitement, exploring, there is no way to justify premium pricing by just naming your product belonging into a category technical diving. There is no way to justify that. So pricing needs to be in the range where a company as Scuba Pro, Maris, Aqualum, Prezi, whoever you would like to count, is offering high quality equipment and not putting a 30, 40, 50% premium surcharge on top. All that helped. And let me just go back here. Helped. It was a lot of work. It was sometimes a nightmare because we touched any single product. We develop products. We are a European-based company. We need to test these products. We need to apply CE testing to it. But finally, we are in a market position that people who told me in 2015 that I am an idiot to spend money on a company like OMS are coming back to me saying, yeah, we misunderstand the potential, and actually we regret that we didn't see that because OMS is a heavy competitor for us. So being in that market as somebody who didn't do anything else in his life than being in an aquatic environment, loving diving to hell, is a great honor for me. And it's fun. It's as much fun that I am just happy to be here, late evening of my time, to tell you a little about what I did in my life, why we acquired OMS, and what you will see in our mission statement, in our constitution for all OMS products. So, I am open for questions. I am open for directions. I am a little faster than I am usually be because I didn't get any questions by side.
So I have a question real quick for you, Thomas. I think I might have missed, how did your boat start burning?
It's a good point. And let me just do it a little more. Let me make the story bigger. Running a boat in Egypt is a very remote place. Owning a boat there means you get phone calls, which are sometimes really disappointing. Like you have a captain on board and you get a phone call where your captain tells you, I quit. I left Egypt. I am in Munich airport. The boat is sitting in a harbor, but I quit. Or you need to have a technical problem. You need to do something. So I got the phone call, and I still remember that. This is where you are. It was 05, Saturday morning. So in the midnight. And somebody on the phone asked me, and let me just close the screen. Oh, you are back there, yes?
Yep. Yeah, I jumped there for you.
Somebody asked me, are you the owner of Ocean Lady? And I said, yes. And he said, yeah, she's just burning in the harbor of Hurghada, Egypt. And I was, of course, 100% awake. And yes, there were 12 people on board, and they were asleep. What happened? In that time being, you used to use diesel generators to run your power. And switching off a diesel, you have two options. You cannot put off the ignition. You need to shut down the diesel supply. So to shut down the diesel supply can be done by an electromagnetic valve or just by turning off the supply chain. That one have had an electromagnetic valve, and when the crew shut off the generator, that valve, that electromagnetic valve, stuck. And what happens if an electromagnetic valve stucks, it gets hot. It could start fire. I know all that because that was the investigation of the insurance, finding out what caused that problem. And then in the end, the fire have been hot enough to ignition the whole diesel. I think that requires in Celsius 1,200 degrees. I cannot transfer that to Fahrenheit, but I can tell you it's really hot. Iron will melt, and that destroyed the whole boat. So long answer on that question. I like that. A technical error made it burning down.
Everyone was safe though?
Yeah.
Thomas, I have a question.
Get me that short answer to that. Yes, everybody was safe. So when I entered the airport, typically on a gate, it could be the gate where people are coming off the airplane from the same destination you are going to. It's more a thing if you go on places in Europe. So 12 people on board, 7 have left their passport at the agent. So that wasn't on board. They were coming on the gate, just in shorts and t-shirts, barefooted, no shoes, because that was the only thing they could buy fast. Everything else was burned down. So 7 people I could easily identify as my customers when I entered that airplane to fly down. The 5 others haven't had their passport. They needed to go to the capital, Cairo, to get to go to the embassy to get a new passport. So no person damage. Just the boat was completely lost.
So we do have a question on. Oh, Pete, why don't you go ahead? You had a question.
Yeah, actually, Thomas, we have a bunch of dealers on here, and folks would really be interested in what the state of the business of the scuba diving industry is over in Europe. We know what we've got going on here, but how are you guys dealing with COVID, with shutdowns, with pools and such? Are you further along than we are? I know you've been following it, but we don't get much on what's going on over there in terms of the scuba industry.
I think to a certain degree, we are more challenged than you are in the US, to a certain degree only. So we have strict shutdowns. So in Germany, the government decided to shut down shops in the middle of November. And since Monday this week, they are allowed to open on appointments, only one in the shop. So that is a 3-month government closing. And the only shops which have been allowed to be open have been grocery shops and pharmacies. So I think the whole diving industry is suffering heavily in the whole world by COVID. There are small differentiations, but in general, there are winning industries, and I think we have these industries as well in the US, like the caravan or RV industry is benefiting from COVID by people spending money, or the boat industry is benefiting. Unfortunately, diving is in the opposite position. But I learned in my life by seeing ups and downs coming up one after the other. And I learned the strength of the diving industry during the crisis we have seen before, like the bank crisis, the euro crisis, whatever we will name it, or even 9/11, that divers are eager to get back into the water. So as soon as international travel can start up again, I am 100% sure diving is one of the first activities being back where it used to be.
So
Does that
another,
answer your question, Pete?
Yeah, yes, it did. So we're suffering along the same way. Some states are different than others. Some have dealt with, and I'm speaking to the choir here. I know one shop in New York that was closed for 3 solid months, no business coming in, and
Yeah,
he
it's
had a pool.
we have all the promises from the government to fund that shops, but I think to get money from the government on small enterprises or small businesses is not really easy.
Agreed.
Okay, Jack, you have had a question from the
yes,
audience.
another question is, where is OMS sold today, and how is the OMS supply line?
Okay, OMS is sold nearly in the whole world. We are running distribution agreements. Distribution agreements means a company is serving a country or a region, like Diving Unlimited International is serving the United States. We do have distributors around the world serving countries, for sure not in the whole world, but in everywhere in the world where diving is playing a role. We do have a distributor, we do have a local warehouse, and we do have people taking care about that. We do have a major warehouse in Germany, and major means typically 99% of all equipment is available for immediate supply out of that warehouse.
So I just want to remind everyone, as far as like from the North America standpoint, DUI, we have a lot of, or we're well stocked in OMS products. I mean, as you can tell, we've partnered together from the beginning on this. So
yeah, well, it's not a question. It is DUI is our strongest partner in the world, serving a big market, no question, but serving that market with really by heart, with the whole staff, with all people, knowledgeable people, and availability of all products.
What we try to do is service on product that we know our customers want. We get a lot of feedback from everybody, and we'll bring in quantity what everybody happens to like, and we'll cut back on what some stuff people don't happen to like. I mean, the classic, the multicolored camo fin wasn't a big seller. It took us a while to move through those. White, I've got enough white fins to choke an elephant. So it's all part of the learning curve that we work with everybody. What you want in harnesses, what you want in wings, what you don't want is just as important as what you do want. So we strive to have in stock exactly what our customers are asking for.
I'm just moving a little here. The voice should follow. I can tell you as a manufacturing company or as a distribution company, it's black item. I would love to do black only. But here, actually, you see the colors, and the camera is following me if I am talking. You see all the colors, and finally, do we need all the colors? And I can tell you, yes, we need all the colors, because colors are becoming, again, more important in the view of a diver. 50% of our sales are black, fine, but the other 50% are divided into each colors relatively equal, and we are talking about 8 colors. And again, we and our distributors, especially DUI, is stocking that for an immediate supply. So it's not produced on order, it's available for immediate supply, and Pete will tell you, will run you through all that details, all the secrets, all the small details. We even run actually a hashtag, we love details, because we truly love details. Very often we look at our equipment as you look at the race car. On a race car, it's made to perform best on what it is made for, and pricing really doesn't matter. If a single item could make it better, people will go for it. And this is how we are working, developing, improving our OMS range. And we are listening to the market. So listening to the market means I am a little blindfolded. Blindfolded because of my own personal diving career, I like very much the DIR thinking of diving. So to finish that with another short story, in 2015 or 2016, we have had an international distributor meeting in Croatia. And I showed the use of a closed circuit SMB to the participants. And the young guy, smart, were coming back to me. It was our Chinese distributor and telling me, Thomas, I understand everything you told me about a stable item at the surface. I understand everything you told me about details, but I am afraid to take my regulator out of my mouth and blowing completely into an SMB. My typical answer on that, I told you I am blindfolded, I could be a little arrogant. My typical answer would have been, it seems you need to go back to training. But that guy was a smart guy because he didn't stop by saying, I am afraid to take it out. Can't you make an SMB with an open button, which has all the features you told me? Inflated, staying there for a long time, not losing air, blah, 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 blah. And listening to him by being honest, admitting that he is not as good trained or experienced to do, we developed our hybrid SMBs, which allows you to do everything you can do with a closed circuit one, but you could orally inflate, or you could as well inflate with your secondary or with your octopus. But if it's once inflated, it stays airtight for months. So we developed a special duckbill valve, making that one airtight. So I love listening to people. I love you telling me what you are facing in diving, what you would like to improve, or ideas you have, because only that will get us forward and get me away from being blindfolded. But I have now enough people around me who are making sure I am not as much looking with blindfolded eyes into whatever we look at.
Yeah, that's a good point, because so many people out there that dive there, as I asked this question to Pete the other day, and Pete's comment was, everybody modifies their gear. And I was like, I thought about that, and I was, yeah, that's kind of true. People want to have certain features or different things happen with their dive gear. And those are things that, you know, we in the industry need to know, so we can start possibly looking into making those changes if it's possible. So that's great. I do have another question is, have you seen any, not necessarily color trends, I mean, it could be a color trend, but any significant differences between the different markets, like the US market versus Europe market versus the Asian market? Like how, like, is there a trend one part of the country or world's going to versus another? Have you seen anything like that?
It's a jacket, you know, it's not an easy to answer question. For sure, the color trend started in Asia. I believe it's a wave now. And the second place where it took land, or where the wave was viewable, was Europe. Out of what I know, the US is still more at the black side. And you know, I don't mean that negative. I'm just, and I need to be careful. So let me just say, on the technical black side of equipment. So I believe we will see more color requests around the world. I am very sure.
So I have another question about the slipstreams. How did they come to be, and how are they? How do you get them to be so light?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. I will not get you the secrets behind, but that was one of the strongest products we could buy from the old OMS. It's a special material. We call it monoplane, but we will not tell you what is included. Even that fin is manufactured in Italy, because we don't like to spread out the secrets of it. So it's a special material mix, which makes it finally neutral in salt water and having the same characteristic on kicking as you typically have on a rubber fin. So the secret behind is the material. What we did in the development, we added sizing, we changed slightly the molds to make it more durable. We added spring straps to it. And even there, we have a small detail we love to look at, because the spring heels are made to suit that fins especially. And Pete may find time somewhere today to get you into that secret.
Yeah, I'm sure Pete's doing that with the DUI accessories part, I assume.
Yeah, you'll have to wait. That's the last presentation. So there you go. And we don't give away trade secrets, but that slipstream fin has become a standard. It's an icon in the industry. And I was pleasantly surprised when I started diving them.
Yeah, I can tell you, from my GUI or DRR side, I like to have a strong fin allowing me to control my kicking very well. And the slipstream does everything besides being not so heavy as a typically rubber fin. And that is actually recognized around the world by public safety and military users. So actually, we are having huge orders, even in countries where it's typically warm, like Taiwan or like Thailand or Australia, ordering huge amount of slipstreams to equip the military with it. It's a perfect fin. It's a perfect fin for anything you would like to do, from going to 30 feet to see colorful fishes, or going down to 300 feet on an extended wreck dive or on cave diving. It's a perfect tool to be used in diving.
So speaking of trade secrets, is there anything new that that you would be willing to give up as far as like?
I can tell you, Jack, I have had that question from Pete. And I said, look, it's typically we would show new items at DIMA show. So we have had new items in line for DIMA show 2020, which have been canceled or which didn't take place. The next place to show is Boat Show Düsseldorf, January, that have been canceled as well. Now we decided to prolong the new products, or to show that products at DIMA show this year.
Right.
Simple. I hope it will take place, but now it's simply too early to already show you, because we would like you to buy our existing equipment, which performs perfect, versus waiting for something new coming up.
Right. So just in case everyone is not familiar with it, so far DIMA in Las Vegas, Nevada is still currently planned.
Yeah, I know. And for me, it's in November, and November should be the place where travel should be possible again, because we should have a vaccine rating around the world, allowing us to get control over that pandemic situation.
Right. And DUI and OMS, we should have, so far, just so everyone knows, our booth placements in the premium section, pretty much it's by the entrance and exit of where it's planned at DIMA. So we should have a lot of traffic, pretty good booth placement this year.
So I hope it will take place. I'm confident it will take place. I personally will be there all 4 days, and I am happy to talk with all of you. I am happy to listen to things you would like to see. I am happy if you just tell me we are happy with the OMS product. I like that more as if you are coming and telling me you are unhappy with a certain product, but even that is very important to know. So I am there and I am happy to talk to you.
That's
in
awesome.
person.
Yeah, it's always good to get your hands on all the gear. When you start working with it, you do see the differences in the OMS product line. You know, when you grab the back plate, when you feel the harness, when you see the buckles in person, it really does make a difference when you see the actual equipment versus just looking at a picture online or something like that. And I can attest to the popularity of OMS getting larger, especially in Southern California. You can start seeing more and more divers out there with OMS gear as it's, you know, becoming more and more popular amongst not just the technical divers, but there is I guess you don't want to go into this recreational versus technical, but, you know, people that are bridging the gap, so to speak, and doing kind of both. So you're seeing a lot more of this OMS gear.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I can share a secret with you, a trade secret. I am the president of a European Industrial Diving Organization, and we do have numbers. We do have numbers by categories. So I know very well how the market decreased over COVID. Interesting for me is to see categories developing. So the thermal protection category is increasing. That's not a question because people are going domestically diving in colder water. They need a different thermal protection. We typically run a market share in the category jacket in a range of 10%. That means 1 of 10 jackets sold in Europe are OMS jackets. It's not really true because it's based on dollars or euros. So $1 spent or $10 spent on jackets is $1 for OMS. During pandemic, the market share increased to 30%, 27.8 for 2020. That is tripling market share. Of course, tripling market share because the category lost. There is a pandemic lost in that, but the people buying equipment now are buying equipment, allowing them to go diving. And go diving means they like to go into a local lake, local sea, local dive site at the shore or at the boat. And they are buying equipment, and they are buying equipment suiting them for their future diving, and they do not consider any longer an adjustable BCD as something they would like to buy for next 3 to 5 or even 10 years. So a trade secret on that, during pandemic, we have been able to nearly triple our market share in the category jackets, which helped us to face the pandemic situation relatively well. And to add something to that trade secret, my company BTS is the same as your XS Scuba in the United States. So we are #1 on tanks. Our tank variation is a little bigger than yours. So it's not just an aluminum 80 or an aluminum 63 or 40. We do have a steel range. We do have an aluminum range. We have a market share in 50%. In 2020, was the best year ever selling scuba tanks because people realized if I do have my own tank, I am independent to go diving. I am not relying on somebody renting me a tank, and I'm not relying on somebody making sure when I would like to go with my friend to an individual sport, diving in a lake, to get my equipment. So people are spending the money they used to spend on travel on equipment. And I am very sure we will see the same situation as well now in 2021, as soon as people are allowed to go out. So the restrictions are a little open.
Right. So DUI has seen some of the same effects going on in the United States with people diving local. So we're coming up towards the end of this segment. We have about 5 minutes before our next session. So I'd like to say thank you, Thomas, for opening up day 2 of this virtual trade show. We're going to take a short break while we get things switched over to Pete with about harnesses. And again, just want to remind everybody, if you're watching on Facebook Live, it's best viewed on Zoom, where you can actually interact with us and you can go into different breakout rooms with the different account managers. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you. Have a good time. Enjoy your time. I will try to see some football later tonight.
I'll probably watch it myself.
Okay, have a good time. And thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Pete.